In the third iteration of a combo video between myself and San Diego-based trainer Ryan Rizuki, we're going to cover yet another NBA rookie, the New York Knicks' 9th overall pick, Kevin Knox. Ryan and I have already analyzed Trae Young and Colin Sexton, and we're going to keep the same structure as those videos for this one. I'm going to break down Knox's shooting form, and Ryan is then going to look at his summer league film to see how his play will translate to the NBA. In addition, in this video, we're going to include an interview between Ryan and Knox's trainer to try to get some added insight into Knox's future with the Knicks. Let's get right into part 1 of this video. I want to start by saying that Knox has a certain version of prototypical shooting form. That's right, for some people, Knox's technique is going to be the technique to emulate that will make them a pure shooter. This is high praise for Knox, and I really think that he can develop into a knockdown sharp shooter in the years to come. Let's start with his feet. He prefers to hop into his jump shots on quick catch and shoots. I have increasingly come to support the hop over the 1-2 in catch and shoot situations, and Knox demonstrates the hop into the catch and shoot perfectly. Of course, he doesn't always hop, and when he doesn't, he uses the more classic 1-2 step, often when he has more time to get his shot off. However, I will say that he often hops in practice, so I wouldn't say that the 1-2 is superior on wide open shots either. Note how when Knox hops, he leaves the ground before the ball gets to him, and then performs his dip while he's still in the air. He then goes right into the raise and extension as his feet come back into contact with the ground. I see a lot of younger players catching the ball and then hopping into their shot. I even do it sometimes when I'm not focused. This is a small but significant difference in timing, and while it's often hard for players to control their shot when first trying this out, the increase in shot speed is sure to come in handy in in-game situations, so it's worth sticking with. The next point of interest for me with Knox is that he's a very consistent user of what I call early release timing, which just means releasing the ball on the way up of your jump off the ground, especially from 3. Smaller players like Steph Curry really popularized this technique, but I'm a firm believer that players of all sizes should utilize early release timing to maximize their ability to shoot threes by reducing the amount of work done by the arm, as well as to speed out the shot. Knox is a large-bodied 6'9", and he will continue to add muscle to his frame given his past strength development from just a year ago. Even still, he will continue to use early release timing, not just because it's a necessity for strength reasons, but because it alleviates tension in the arm, thereby making for a more consistent 3-point and free throw shooter. And again, early release timing makes his shot quicker than if he released at or after the apex of his jump off the ground. The future of shooting really is in shot speed, not shot elevation. Finally, I want to talk about the location of Knox's set point. As you can see, his set point is off to the right side of his face. The reason for this set point location is that it allows for his shooting arm to move through a vertical plane underneath the bottom of the ball, leading to a consistently straight shot. This allows Knox to combine his right arm motion with a very simple left arm motion, where his hand disconnects cleanly from the ball before the release. Players who have their set point located more centrally, or off to the other side of their body, do not benefit from this natural shoulder, elbow, and wrist vertical alignment. However, that is not to say that these players cannot shoot consistently. Players like Steph Curry and Damian Lillard achieve vertical joint alignment later in their shots, after their set points, by bringing their elbow underneath the wrist right before the release takes place. But I believe that if it is possible for you to achieve vertical joint alignment earlier in your shot without experiencing joint discomfort or tension, then there's no need to delay that alignment. Knox is more similar to Klay Thompson in this respect, and is another great example of a player who's able to get into this optimal shot position early in his shot. I'm now going to hand over to Ryan to dissect some Summer League footage.
Hey Seamus, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to be back for another episode in this series. So let's take a look at Kevin Knox and how he fits in the Knicks offense. The first thing I want to point out is his IQ. He runs the floor with great space, staying wide in his lanes, and he's able to convert on a lot of easy fast break transition buckets. The second thing is that on secondary fast breaks, He's able to find openings in the corner or the top for easy three-point shots in transition. These are both great shots that he'll be taking throughout the entire season. Next, let's take a look at his ability to read screens. So if you watch this clip against Atlanta, he comes off the screen going left and snakes it back to the right, something Chris Paul is famous for doing. This is a high-level read and a professional move. In this next clip, he rejects the ball screen and hits his screener on a behind-the-back pass on the short roll. His screener scores, and again, he's making high-level reads off of those screens. In these next two clips, his defender goes under the screen and he shoots the ball without hesitation, either from the three-point line or getting into his nice mid-range shot. On this last one, he comes off a narrow pin down. His defender trails him, so he curls it inside, catches the ball, and makes a great play on the lob. So let's take a listen to Akee right now and find out what he has to say about Kevin's performance with the Knicks so far and how he sees his development in the future. So Akee, do me a favor and introduce yourself a little bit and let the people know who you are.
All right. My name's Akee Dean. I'm a skills coach based out of Florida. Work with all different ages. And founded a company called Process Basketball, and just been really fortunate to work with some good players. Last 2 years, worked with Jonathan Isaac really since he was in high school. But did part of his pre-draft, and he was a number 6 pick in 2017, and then been working with Kevin Knox, who got drafted to the Knicks, number 9 overall this past year. Just been blessed and just love teaching the game of basketball. It's what I do.
Awesome, man. How long have you been working with Knox?
I think it's coming on 3.5, around 4 years.
Mm-hmm. So you've been working with him since high school?
Yeah, since the end of his sophomore going to junior year of high school.
Okay, awesome. So let's get right into some of the questions that have been arised about Knox and his ability to play in the NBA. And one of the ones was his motor. So what do you feel about that?
I definitely think that he has the capability of playing extremely hard. When I first saw him, I was actually watching Jonathan Isaac play in Peach Jam and EYBL, and Kevin was playing up on their team. And that was one of the big things that stood out to me when I was like, man, I really want to work with this kid. He just never stopped going. So I know that, it's been a question, sometimes from some people, but I think he showed it in Summer League this year that, he definitely has a capability to play at a high level. Energy-wise throughout the game. And I think it's only going to get better as he gets older and mature. So I don't see that being a problem in the NBA. Like I said, I understand why maybe people have brought it up, but he's going to show, that he definitely has that motor to make it in the league.
No, absolutely. He put up great numbers. He looked really confident and poised throughout Summer League. So I would say, looking at his film, though, he struggled to be explosive going to his left the same way he went left. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you guys been working on?
That's something that we watched a lot of film when we were out in Vegas, and kind of pointed that out as well, that, he could, in my opinion, I think could average another 6 points per game, this past Summer League if he just, converted a little bit more going left. But, Rome wasn't built in a day. I think he's kind of bought into that. He understands that that's something that he needs to work on. He can go left. I think it's just more of a comfort factor of, trying to get back to that right hand, or maybe going to 2 feet instead of, taking off on one with maybe some same hand, same foot finishes. But I think, again, he's bought into it and he understands that's something that he needs to work on. And I think come season time, you guys will see a lot of progress with him going left.
Absolutely. And one thing that I'm actually really impressed with is his IQ and his ability to run the floor in fast breaks and to run the pick and roll. So how do you see Kevin fitting in the Knicks offense?
I think he's going to fit great because, Fizdale is going to use him as a dimensional player. The good thing about Kevin, he's 6'9". He moves very fluently. So he has a lot of different, dynamics that he can bring to a team, as far as, being a threat in transition, as far as, like you said, having a 6'9" guy coming off a pick and roll and being able to make the right pass. That's something that we worked on. That's something that he's, put a lot of time in to improve at. That was one of the questions coming out of Kentucky because his role was a little bit different in college, where he was more of a catch and shoot guy coming off down screens, catching and shooting. And I think he showed that he has a lot more to his game. And I think Fizdale is going to use him pretty much 2 through 4, this season, and you're going to see a lot of different situations that he's expected to make plays, and I think he'll deliver.
No, absolutely. He looked very versatile on the floor, so I was happy to see that. So last question, what about defensively? It seemed at times he struggled to stay in front of certain players, and will he be able to switch? Because a lot of, the NBA defense right now, especially with pick and roll, is a lot of switching. So will he be able to switch on the smalls? Will he be able to guard bigs? How do you see his defense translating to the NBA?
I think it's going to translate good. I think it's going to be a process. Today is his birthday, actually, but he's just turning 19 years old. So when you take that into account, I think the bigger and more mature he gets, he's going to be a much better defender, on bigs in the post. Right now, he's young. He's going to fill out. He has wide shoulders, but, he's not a big kid. And, obviously the NBA is grown man. So I think, when he fills out, he'll be a much better, defender in the post. As far as switching, I think it's just a consistency factor with him. And again, this is something that we've talked about. He understands it. I know the Knicks staff is going to, do a great job of holding him accountable because he's shown spurts. I know the first game when they played the Hawks, he switched, extremely well. He was on Trae Young a couple times and forced him into some contested shots that he missed. So he's shown the capabilities. Again, I just think for him right now, he has to understand that it's the NBA. Everyone's great, and you got to be consistent. And the NBA, you and I both know it's a different ball game than college as far as how good your IQ needs to be on the defensive end as well, with so many different coverages that you're going to have to get acquainted with and accustomed to. So I think the longer he's in the league, I think the better defensively he'll become. But I do think that he has a very, very high ceiling.
Awesome. I love it. Hey, so let the people know where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Instagram at Akeem. You can find me on Twitter, same thing, Akeem. You can find me on Instagram, same thing. I mean, not Instagram, but YouTube, Akeem. So pretty consistent.
Cool. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks so much for that discussion, Ryan and Akeem. It's always great to hear from guys who've actually worked with the players and have developed personal relationships with them over the years, not least because you can give insights that other people just can't. Make sure you check out Ryan's YouTube and Instagram, which I have on screen now, and do the same for Akeem's social media, which he just went over. Finally, if you have any questions for me, be sure to follow me on Instagram and leave a comment or message over there, as I can't get back to every comment on YouTube. As always, thanks for watching, and you'll hear from me in the next video.